the question?
I guess our pictures out.
Okay. Go ahead, Coyote, you go first.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
So, it looks like Ed and Drew are not here yet, so we'll just start things by introducing ourselves. I'm Blind Coyote. I'm a freelance illustrator and fantasy artist. I specialize and care mostly to the furry crowd. I did the art for the comic book, a couple of the badges, and the print that you got when you registered. So, yeah. I've been in the community for about going on 7 years. I've been doing it furry art for about just as long. So, yeah.
Hello, everybody. I'm known as Summit Lion. I've been involved with the community since 2003. I started being involved more with the art community probably back in 2009 when I got done with college. I'm the one who came up with the t-shirt design last year, the Rocketeer, Furries Rocking to the Future. So I say that's my claim to fame for this event. And I'm the one who actually did some of the badges that you have and one of the other prints I was giving out to you. And by day, I'm a multimedia designer and illustrator. I've been doing this working full-time doing that since 2011. And it's what I live for, so I balance my work and my play.
So, yes, when did we get involved with AnthrOhio? I actually attended MorphCon 2012. That was the previous iteration of the event. And I've attended, this is my 4th or 5th time coming in, so it's definitely a fun one, a really small, like homie con, and it's definitely worth coming to like meet up, meet old friends, and meet up with old friends, meet new friends, and overall you have a good time.
For me, it probably came in 2016. I was at AnthrOhio and I saw flyers for the AnthrOhio event, the Rocking to the Future, and the advertisement they were using was the promotion art from The Rocketeer, a Disney movie from 1991. They were using the Howard Hughes World's Fair 1938 cover, and I'm a sucker for good production art for movies. I collect them like a dork, and Rocketeer is probably one of the few films that got me into Art Deco art. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, wait a minute, what's their theme? What's going on with this? So I looked up and I saw their theme was Rocketeer, which is a pun on the Rocketeer. And that past year, in 2016, was the 25th anniversary of the Rocketeer, and they had a big design t-shirt contest on Threadless. I didn't win, but I was one of the finalists selected, and so my t-shirt had a short run in Hot Topic and a few department stores. So I took my designs and tailored it for the Rocketeer, and they got a kick out of it. So a lot of people wearing the blue shirts with the for AnthrCon 2000 for AnthrOhio 2000 and is it 17? Yeah, it's 2017. That was my design. And unfortunately, I couldn't attend last year. I was out of the area, but I got a kick out of using that design. And like I said, I'm a sucker for Art Deco, and I like how a lot of furry themes are trying to combine them together. Case in point, the AnthrOhio 2017, I also did a t-shirt design for them.
Nice.
So that's where I'm a sucker for trying to challenge myself against other artists and see what I can bring different to the table and how can I improve myself.
I know I've had you guys at Pittsburgh over on Design Super Convention. We can go into a conference and just welcome to each of the
Honestly, the convention approached me about being their guest and doing some art for them, and like I've been attending other conventions in the region, since 2011, and it's seeing familiar faces. Like you start building connections, and when those connections is like on the way down, like shortly after last year, and before last year, they were like, "Hey, you want to be our guest?" It's like, why not?
Same thing with you, they just approach you.
Actually, they contact me through Twitter during this time last year, during Raptor event included, and they say, "Would you want to be the guest of honor?" And I was thinking like, "Oh, I could come in," but I'm just curious what credentials they saw in me that they want to bring me to the table. It's like, well, I'm just another artist who's worked my butt off, and I think one thing I take encouragement that no one helped me when I got out of college was how to build yourself and brand yourself. Because when they say you get out of college, you're like, oh, I can do everything. Are you sure you can do everything? And that's where I fell in love with branding. When that whole thing with the last year's event, with the whole Rocket Deer, I was like, oh, I got plenty of material we can use, guys. I'll throw it down your line, see what I can tailor together. Because once again, I'm just a sucker for Art Deco, and I like building a branding for that. The hardest thing I find is trying to brand myself. I can help brand an organization. I can help pick the font, but when it comes to myself, I'm just such a picky son of a gun. It's like I love drawing other people's personas. I love looking at their design. I love helping somebody else design. I just can't design one for myself because I just want to go. It's like taking a photo of yourself and you want to display it around your house. Like, who does that?
Yeah, or listening to your own voice in a podcast.
Right. You're like, man, I just sound awful. I'm probably going to see this on the video. Like, man, I sound like garbage over the microphone, Tom. I was like, yeah, I know.
Every time I press 3 to hear the message again, it's like, oh, I sound terrible.
You sound better than me. I sound like I'm...
So, did we already ask how to get started in the family?
No, we don't. We just were kind of segue into our connection with AnthrOhio and how, I guess to see how long we've been with the family, but we never gone into like, what was a gateway to go like, ooh, furries. But I think I'll look into that.
Got you dragged into this.
You go ahead first, Coyote. You can follow the branding.
So, I first was exposed to quote-unquote furry back in like 2008, I think, and during the high school anime club meeting, and like one of the guys was drawing what I come to know as furry, but he called it kemono, which is Japanese equivalent to furry. And I didn't see or hear much of it for another 3 or 4 years. Yeah, 3 years. And then in 2011, right before my senior year, I just browsed on the internet and I found Neko's, and that led eventually to furries as and I dove into it hard. Like I almost say graduate. Maybe not the best time, but it's definitely come full circle. It's definitely become a very prominent role in my life.
For me, it was probably the Disney film The Lion King, and there was this. I don't know if people still go on this website anymore. There was called this LionKingFanArt.org. It came out probably back in 1995 is when it came out. Back when the internet was, people were still using like iframes. I get an echo here, sorry. And I just found people connecting that are doing art on there. And then probably, there's a special MTV back in 2001. They call it like True Life. Does anybody remember that show?
Yeah.
Like True Life, I'd like to pick my nose or something like that. And one was called about furries. And there was like, this is the one, I think it was 2003 they have on there. And I was like, I think I'm going to look into this more. Then I came across this one website called Burbit. And people were like, I realized you could actually produce art that people will pay for. I'm like, wow, people actually will pay for something that you produce? I think I might look into it. And I slowly bounced it between my day job, being in the military, and going to college at the same time. I would putz around here and there, and really couldn't find my brain and what I wanted to play around with. So it was kind of like throwing things and see what sticks or what do I like about it. probably when AnthrOhio finally moved to Pittsburgh, I felt like, well, at least it's local. At least I can attend it, and I'll have to, break the bank just to go somewhere.
It was in Philadelphia from say about 98 or 99 until 2005 was the year they
had the league. Okay. Which I think Pittsburgh loves it. I think it's a lot easier than just me being a local go-go.
It's a good fit, I think.
Yeah.
How did you start putting yourself out? Was it mostly cons, face-to-face business, or was it more online correspondence?
A little bit of both. He asked how we started throwing ourselves out there to the community. I went to my first convention, AnthrCon 2011, and it's straight up. I went to the artist alley. It was a good con, a little bit overwhelming. I believe they had 4,400 people there, and that's in that they have about 7,500 this past year, last year. That started my journey of going to conventions. I loved it. I didn't go to AnthrCon for at least another 5 years. I just went back about 2 years ago, and I went last year, and I'll be back again this year. And like I said, I've been going to a lot of the regional conventions, MCFC, AnthrOhio, IFC, MFF, and other ones around the area. And it's taken me around the country as well, like Seattle, LA, Boston, Orlando, all over. Yeah, definitely.
What's the question again? I'm sorry.
When you first down to before you architect, how did you start putting yourself out there?
Oh.
Face-to-face, or online stuff?
Well, for me, it was all about all using the online correspondence of DeviantArt, First Affinity, and this was before we had the use of Twitter or Facebook. And I was relying on probably looking for things that gets people's viral attention. And I started out with the fan arts. That's where I looked at. I think I was. I would go on a website called Geek Tyrant. I looked at what's popular that's going on there. And one thing that seemed to be going on was a lot of minimalists and a lot of mock posters, or I guess you call it parody posters. And as someone who's a sucker for graphic design, which I fell into, I looked at a lot of parody posters, and one year they had this thing on, was it Visible Children Connie 2012, what turned out to be a scam, something about whoever that was, some dictator or something. I was watching that, and at the same time I was playing this weird game called Far Cry 2. And I was looking at the propaganda they had for these African militias. And I was like, okay, what would be an interesting African militia? I'm like, oh, I got Scar and Zero. Once they had their own African militia, what would it look like?
Scar was just a misunderstood leader. He just wanted to feed us.
I know. Well, what was his slogan? Be prepared. And what was Zero's for? My lullaby. So I took their songs and I made them into these propaganda posters, and I just took off like hotcakes. And I look at it and I try to say, what styles can I get out of this? I look beyond what the Disney style and the character style. So I started looking at other inspirations from passive propaganda artwork. Art Deco, which I just love doing so much, and doing minimalism, which seems where I find my segue. And the other thing about putting myself out there is I look who's popular within the organization, the community. Since using Twitter now, I look at who has the most followers and what reason. If I do art related to them, I put myself out there and I get other people's attention. So in a way, I kind of use the popular curve. They get free art out of me, I get some attention and PR. And it's the best way to look at it.
So, when you joined Furry, did you have to tell family or friends or anything? What was that like?
Oof.
You go first.
So, my family did not like it at all, for one, because after I found the community, because I dove into it so heavily, definitely had a major impact on my school. Like I almost didn't graduate at time. Whoops. But but eventually, like probably around 2013, I think 2014, I started earning enough to actually start paying bills, start paying rent, and it's like okay, maybe he can make something of this. It's like, and now it's more than 75% of my income, so it's like, okay, he's doing okay. I still have a part-time job. It's definitely something that I suggest for anyone, whether it be just like running errands or like just a quick like 10-15 hours a week job or something. It'll get you out of the house. It'll be healthy for you mentally and socially and physically.
Probably in 2004, back when my family shared a computer, they found my furry arts. And it was not a good experience. Not good. Not good. And it was very cruel. It's like looking back at your own art and like, oh man, what was wrong with me? And they looked at it and they thought it was just a fetish thing. That's what they thought. That's what it related to. And probably until I kind of like would keep on the down low. Once I got my own computer, I could keep on down low and not worry about it. And it was funny because I was at a convention in Ottawa, Canada, and they were talking to young animator artists who were just trying to make money. And they're like, well, make sure you reach out to the furry community to get some commission art because they'll pay you money for their OCs.
Yeah.
Because these are animators who are just looking for money to pay the bills and realize this furry community will pay you money for these artwork. I'm like, okay, let's reach out to this. And I thought, maybe I should try it out again, try a different approach. And it was probably, I was working with an artist by the name of Sean Howell, who draws very burlesque like pinups. I enjoy his work. And I decided, because I like his work, I decided to start coloring for just for fun. And one of my family members found it again. They were talking about, oh, you remember when you did this? I'm like, I'm kind of doing it now. Like, what do you mean you're kind of doing it now? Well, I told him that a guy in our War II group is a furry. He was like, he's a furry? I'm like, yeah. It's like, he was at this event. So what do you do? Then they asked me, what do I get out of the event now? Because this is the second time this conversation came up. And I said, I go to these events, I make a good profit, and I do well. And they're like, so what about the little risque stuff? How's that sound? Like, not as much as you think to anymore. Because you think about, am I going to put a pin-up on my wall, or am I going to put something that's a little more abstract and I can enjoy years down the road? And I thought, that's probably where I found my art maturing, is that no one's going to put money towards the adult stuff as much as you think to anymore. And it's more about what can I hit the most avenue approach of clients. Well, I guess you say more bang for your buck. But
I think part of that might also come from the fact that you work with a lot of physical mediums. And with digital, I could buy a piece and never have to put it on the wall and look at it, but when it's physical, yeah, you gotta put that somewhere.
Definitely.
right.
That's neat.
It's like probably when you're 19, you used to put pinup. Well, not probably. When you're 19, you put pinup on the walls of art. Then one day you walk in and go, would I feel comfortable bringing my girlfriend in here? Would I feel comfortable bringing my folks in a tour of my room? No. It's a certain time in your life, you don't do it anymore.
So we're on the subject of reactions. What kind of euphemisms have you used to describe what you do?
Like, I've actually, I never really offered, like, I never advertised, like, myself as an adult artist. Oh yeah, but it's like for me, it's like, if you want that, you're going to be paying a premium. It's like, that is a premium product. It's like that I don't normally do. So, like, I said I don't really advertise it because it's like I don't want to be known for it. Because I'm starting to try to expand myself to other avenues and other opportunities.
What do you mean by euphemism?
Well, some people that I ask furry art, people ask the kind of what you got up to. I do way of saving drawing furry art, or do you try to ship it over?
Like that.
Okay, I try to get the frame reference.
I just go more route of like fantasy illustration, like D&D. Yeah, better known genres, right? Yeah.
I would probably say I look at them when I tell somebody I'm doing art for the furry community. I say I'm doing it for this clientele. Case in point, I think when the neat thing is that I use this clientele and as part of my networking. I have to thank being part of the furry roadie band about my current job. The neat segue is I have a family relative who's working with somebody at this one location, and I just got laid off from this job that I was working for. I got laid off, so I'm on the hunt looking for something. And one thing they tell you now when you're looking for a job, the best way is to network now. You can't throw your resume thinking, someone's going to bite it, right? No, you got to go out there and network. You got to start to be somewhat social in your field. That's why you have LinkedIn and utilizing that. So the segue was, turns out my stepmom's connection to this guy where I got the job was, his wife has been following me for the past 2 years with my furry and brony arms. And when I found out about it, I was like, hey, and then plus just to make things up a little, like, kind of butter things up a bit, I found out that her husband was in the Transformers and local Beast Wars area. So I made this propaganda image of Megatron, and this is sort of the Andre Vagina Bay. And they just paper cutout, which I thought, I'm never going to make anything like this again. And he'd probably get a kick out of this. And I've done things for his wife, just sometimes when you put yourself out putting your art for these people, it helps build connections. Like I see some event going on, and I see somebody who's like, I wish someone would make an art. Like, I like to challenge myself. Like, and sometimes those challenges, you gain resources that you can utilize later.
Like commissions for stuff like company management?
Oh yeah, there's a case in point. Have you heard of the website called 99 Design? It's a contest-driven website. Say AnthrOhio doesn't like what the furry art community is doing, so they want to see what other artists can do out there. You put a design out there on this website, and you set the criteria, what you're looking for, and you set your price. And other artists come in and they compete for this, and you at the end award who you want to win. And I was on that website probably in 1999, and I would come home every day and try to build up on this contest. A lot of them were like, I try to think of what do I like to draw. I like to draw lines, I like to draw cartoons, I like to do things for the military. I don't like doing anything, what's a good example of something else? Car related. I don't have anything related to that, so I focus on those things. And I built myself a little portfolio of that. And I have like probably at least 100 different drawings of lines I've done over the past 5 years that I can utilize. So, and that's how example of mascots that I helped build my portfolio.
You mentioned looking for employment. Because you can go to a con, you're managing your own business, you're able to work independently. Would you put being a furry artist on a resume?
So how I would do it is I just put freelance illustrator.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's how you describe yourself on your website too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Freelance illustrator, specializing in fantastical, fantasy, and environmental illustration.
That's probably the most professional way I would segue into that.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Unless you got to know your audience. Once again, it's like, because you never have one just resume. If, like, Casey points out, let's say the product is furry related, and it's a video game, and they're looking for furry artists. Then you would tailor your resume. That's the only time I would do this. Know your audience. Look for the keywords, because they throw your resume through a list of things, and they're looking for keywords again. And if they see the furry group, and they see the furry word. But here's the other thing: is since a lot of my design I've been doing lately have been put on a portfolio and are being displayed on topic, I got to pull them out of there. And if they find my furry work, I'm just going to make sure. I make sure it's what's censored is censored, and try to move on from there.
Even though we are kind of approaching a point where your furry work might end up in a hot topic too.
Actually, that's a good segue because you probably discovered this in Blind Coyote that there's been a a big boom of young furries coming in. Probably
definitely.
Probably 17 and younger. Case in point, what happened was the furry event in Nevada. Biggest little furry con.
BLFC, yes.
Yeah. Where someone brought their 10-year-old to the event. And these kids are coming in younger. This is the, I hate to say, we're the gray muscles now, dude. We're the old.
Right. Well, one thing you have to keep in mind too is like these people who have been around since the initiation of furries, like in the late 80s, early 90s, they're now the age where they're raising their own families too. So they're going to start, and their kids are starting to get to the age where they can start attending events with their parents.
But also, we need to accept them and teach them, but don't act like the old sergeant club.
Yeah.
We can't be the old grumpy old man. The thing is, we need to listen to them. Because this is a new audience. They're going to bring some new aspect to it. And listen, like, 10-year-old comes in, what brings you here? Because I'm curious, when I was 10, I didn't know about this. So they got more information about this than I had when I was 16.
Right.
So speaking of, would you have any advice for someone who's just starting out as an artist or just starting out as some kind of, in some creative outlet and is struggling or thinks that they need to improve so much?
So the biggest things that I have found, and like just because my own journey through the community, because I got into it after 2010, is that we live in the age of free information, and while like 2009, and like from what I've heard, like there's like a big migration of people leaving the community, going on their own route, but now we're getting to a point where we're building ourselves back up, and like one of my friends, John, he mentions like furry art is bringing a new golden age to the fantasy and illustration art in general, because there's so many people who grew up with Disney, with all the different cartoons from the 90s, and now they're bringing up their kids, and they're going to be introducing their kids to that media as well. So there's going to be a second wave coming in of the younger generation, and with us being established, we need to help them along the way, because it's a free market of interchanging finances and like that and information. We need to start looking into avenues of teaching in the generation instead of just hoarding that information to ourselves. And also trying to get rid of bad habits. Like there's so many artists who start out that are so afraid to use reference in general because they feel like they've been told that's cheating, or they feel like that doing adult work is the only way to make any money, and they're too young to even be doing that anyway. So they're scared that it wouldn't be enough. But it's actually the opposite. Yes, and with more, there will be more competition, but you just got to teach and introduce these, and introduce more a moral compass that's more guided in a way.
Well, for my advice for someone getting into this, to become a furry artist, keep in mind of what brought you into this fandom. What brought you, engage your interest, and take elements that you like and try to build your own style out of that. For me, I love the comic work of Angel Medina. I love some of the furry artists that come through, and I try to look at how they draw that, and I try to emulate. Even if you draw fan art of them, because there are people who make a career doing fan art of them, if it means just building up your portfolio. But but just keep in mind, make sure you have fun doing it. And make sure you're having fun doing it, and also keep in mind your prices. Because when you low ball yourself, it kind of hurts the community. Know your price, know your worth. If you're going to start doing pieces for under $10 that take you over an hour, then you might as well go work at McDonald's. This is what our popular artist told us, and they were telling us about how to market yourself on there. And taking that in mind, really keep that in mind. Help me build my confidence. Here's what I know I can do. And keep in mind, don't take off more than don't bite off more than you can chew. Because like I know I'll never be good as Wolfie Hill. I mean, he does amazing things in Photoshop I don't have the time for. I love Illustrator. I love making things simple. And each time I try to build myself, hey, what more can I do without Illustrator with this design? And challenge yourself. Look at somebody's artwork, say, can I recreate this or stylize this in my own way and certain elements that I like about this? And that's where I would admire. And ask somebody about their work. They might ignore you. Okay, oh well, I'll move on to the next person. Hey, how'd you do this? Pick somebody else's brain. I'm open to tell people, learn from my mistakes. I hate people seeing them struggle making the same mistakes I have. Like, dude, I've been down this hole so many darn times. I want to help you pull yourself out of it. You can do it.
Yeah. Also, watching streams has been the #1 way that has helped me improve my own run, because you're able to get that instant feedback from those questions, like you mentioned. Like I stream on Twitch, and I try to offer that opportunity to my viewers to come in, show what they're working on, and I'm able to give them pointers on how to improve it for the next time. What I try to remind them is you can poke at a piece all day, but honestly I feel like at some point it's better to do 10 quick pieces that take an hour each than one 10-hour piece where you're just poking around the canvas and not getting much anywhere. Because by doing those quick little pieces, you are forced to prioritize certain aspects of the piece that need to be prioritized to get the best clarity.
I'm curious, since you do the streaming thing, I mean, you offer tips about how to work on your stream, right?
Right.
Have you ever been asked to go to someone else's stream and kind of watch them work and provide feedback to them?
Yeah, actually. Sometimes I'll jump into a Discord call and with another person and do while Twitch doesn't have native multi-streaming like Picardo, there are a few third-party sites where you can do a multi-stream. It doesn't merge chat, but it offers that opportunity to have multiple streams in the same tab. And I'll jump into a Discord call and I'll be talking and and back and forth and feeding off of each other for feedback, critique, and just answering questions.
I'd say I've done the same thing where when I see somebody's working on their work in Discord, I'm like, dude, and they ask for feedback, and I was like, dude, you need to make the head a little bigger. So how do I do that? What should I do that? I try to teach them the hotkeys that I went through in Illustrator. I'm like, all right, take this, select your head, hit your hotkey S, that'll gauge your size tool, and at least it'll make it all uniform, so that way you're not guessing. Right. Anything that makes your life a little bit easier, I take it in a heartbeat. And after a while, the hotkeys just become second nature to me. And sometimes when I'm instructing people how to do things, I'm like, oh yeah, you forgot to hit that key, guys.
What kind of research have you guys gone through across some pieces, anatomy and physics?
So every piece that I do is I try to do at least a 2 hour quick study. It's like okay, I'm going to be drawing and some big cats. I haven't drawn cats in a while, so I'll do a bunch of, or I'm going to be starting a dragon piece pretty soon. So I brought up the Magic Gathering website and just typed in dragons, or ArtStation, typed in dragons, and just grabbed a whole bunch of different dragon pieces and just tried to emulate the different stylistic choices to those. But also at the same time, I'm also trying to dissect them, try to figure out what that person used as a reference for theirs. Like, did they use a crocodile? Did they use a horse? Did they use a horned lizard? And all these, anything that is built, and that any fantasy creature is built off of an actual real life. Because a lot of times, real life is stranger than fiction. So why not use it?
All right, going to that, back to that, when I do use assets. At my job, I have to create package designs, but I have to be very similar to the branding that the company is going towards. So I go out there and collect a bunch of assets related to that material, and I have that as a reference. Once again, it's about following the lead of what the feel you want of that design. When I make a new project, I have an asset folder, and you say, this is what I use as a reference. And I have every project I have has an asset folder. The case in point is that, do you guys see the movie Pacific Rim?
Yeah.
Well, I was watching the making of it, because I thought it interesting, because they were talking about the branding of what they want each robot to look. If you go back and watch that movie, each of those robots has a different unique design. Mm-hmm. And I was watching the making of it. Guillermo del Toro told his design company when they were designing, like, I don't want to see any references or anything related to Gundams in here. I don't want any big 80s robots here. I want you to go back and look at real robots that are being constructed and use that as your reference. And make it more believable. And a lot of them were using like combination of real robots and knight armors as a building points. Mm-hmm. Nothing mythical. Like right now on DeviantArt, they have a Pacific Rim 2 contest. And the objective is to make one relate to your hometown. And I can see a lot of people going, my hometown's Pittsburgh, and I can see a lot of people going up and looking at Pittsburgh Steelers references, Iron City workers, what robots that come out of Pittsburgh as a reference to build their robots. And
Detroit and Chicago and all those.
Right, that's what's going on right now. The thing is, I don't know where I'm going to have to find the time to work on. I would love to do that, but right now, there's probably some kid looking at probably going through anything related to Detroit. Like, okay, auto industry, it's going to be a lot of wheels. It's going to be a lot of I feel like a GMC vehicle. Where can I go from here?
There's a giant statue of Detroit that's just a big fish.
Yeah,
that would be perfect for a robot. In your portfolio, is there any piece that you're particularly proud of, or you look back and like that was like really, really fun to work on, something like that?
There's a few pieces in there. Like I really do like working on the larger pieces. It offers a unique troubleshooting opportunity, like building up. Like you really have to nail the thumbnail. You have to nail the sketch, because without a strong foundation, it's like a house built on a poor foundation will crumble. So you have to build that up, and when it's done properly, it comes together so quickly. I have some pieces that I worked like upwards to 30 or 40 hours on because I didn't properly prepare, so I had to like fix a lot of things earlier on. And then I also have other pieces that are like at the same level that I get done in 10 hours, in a quarter of the time, because I took that extra little bit to like put an effort to set everything up so that I have the opportunity to just, okay, I have the framework in place, I can just go, and it all comes together really nicely.
For me, I would say when things come together, when you have from the knowledge of my past experiences, results as a positive future experience. I say feedback on people. Case in point, I have a design that's being picked up by Hot Topic that's going to be sold for the 25th anniversary of Jurassic Park. I had a couple designs that went through the Furry Week in Atlanta that was selected as created. And I looked at those because they all emulate something that one instructor told me. The importance of silhouette in an image, as an example. And a silhouette image could present so many different emotions and leave it to the viewer's imagination. And I love the feedback I get from that. I discovered that last year at the AnthrOhio art show, I had the silhouette of a wolf howling at the moon. And I was thinking, oh, people aren't going to bid on it. I looked back and it went up to like $75 on the show. I'm like, okay, this has hit a market with people. Silhouette images with this type of...
I think it's used for the iPod advertising too. It was used for the iPod advertising too.
Yeah. iPod was it. But back when Apple was at their prime with their branding, where they kept things simple, it has the most impact. One thing I follow is Mini Cooper. They had this neat, fun, minimalist design. Now it's luxurious and put gradients left and right. Do you remember when like buttons on websites would have like, you had to have a shine here, you had to have a gradient here, then you had to have the drop shadow here, and then when you click on it, it's supposed to look like this. In the Halo, it was just a mess. Or when you move your mouse, like, look, it has sparkles in it, man. So when it screams 1998 when you look at it.
Sometimes too much.
Yeah, sometimes you want to go too much, like, back it up a bit. Sometimes you convey so much more simple. And I think we're at the point of design-wise with a lot of t-shirts. It's simple. For example, the logo design for Patreon, it used to be for P, now it's just a circle with a line. And I think we're getting to that point in design.
And they're able, like, their announcement video for the new branding for Patreon, and like, they can utilize that so much that they use it more like part of it was like they used that design elements to be like a ping pong paddle and ball. So that was pretty good.
Now, have you guys ever hit any kind of platform in art development, or have you always kind of aesthetic?
One thing with art is that, or any skill really, it can be hard to see any progress from like an inside perspective. You got to really step back to actually see the progress that you're really making. There has been a few points where it's like I feel like I've kind of plateaued, and I forget exactly what it's called, but there's a chart with like actual knowledge and your perceived knowledge, and at one point, like, your perceived knowledge is below your actual skill level. Perceived skill is below your actual skill level, and like you feel like you're at art slump. You're really down. It's like because you're actually learning. When things get really hard, that's when you're learning the most. And then when your perceived skill is higher than your actual skill, and that's when like eventually that's when you're on top of the world. You're pumping out things every single day. But eventually it wavers. It goes back and forth because you're always improving until your actual skill is above your perceived skill again, and it's just a continuous cycle. Like, you're always improving, always trying new things, then you're always going to be getting better. One thing that I've seen, especially in the community, is people getting stuck in one style. They stagnate, they plateau, and they stick to one style, and they get really known for it, but they use the same style for like 10 years, and they never get better. And the style gets cleaner, the lines get cleaner, they get quicker, but like the quality, like the technical skill doesn't progress in the same way.
I have to say my fear of plateauing would have to result as in when I'm getting too comfortable or I'm getting too bored with my design. And that's the key to this thing, is if I find myself working on something I've done 1,000 times before, and I'm getting bored with it. I'm like, okay, I'm doing something wrong here. I know the audience likes it. What do I like about it? And it's trying to find that, you've got to find that groove of being happy with your artwork.
Be honest with yourself.
Yeah, be honest. If you're looking at it, goes like, okay, I don't like this. And if people say, oh, it's great, it's great. Listen to the people, but listen to yourself. And then if you don't like it, then don't do it. Try to push yourself out of that. And also look at new tools. For case in point, like I said, I like to challenge myself, or stress helps me. Stress for, like, I need money, I need to figure out something now to do this. Force myself. And also challenge yourself to do something. I never thought I would do shadow boxes in my lifetime. I'd see other people doing, like, oh, I'm not able to do that, I don't have the time. And then one day I looked at it and go, why not try this? What's holding me back? And it's just paper cut out. So I looked at it. Actually, the time I was doing that, I actually made a tutorial for myself how to do it. It was part of some contest. And people keep on asking me, oh, how do you do this? Here's a tutorial. Like, no, I don't know how you did that one. Like, the tutorial's right there, man. You're a smart person. Reverse engineering. And I love reverse engineering. Like, okay, you did that. What can I do to recreate that? And especially when it's art and style, and look at other people's art, and it's like, can I make something like that? And examine them and try to do that. It's all about becoming an artist, about observation. And that's where right now, like, I love to do something in 3D design. It's just taking my time to sit down and like, okay, I have the knowledge, I have the experience, how do I use this tool to get it what I want?
Those want to take any audience questions?
Yeah, guys have any questions? Barbara.
Yeah, so, sorry, I've been actually kind of perusing your guys' gallery.
Oh,
over
cool.
the day.
Brought my loot stuff, didn't you?
Yeah, I was just thinking that, but on a more serious note, what, and you, actually, you guys, if you
Please say this up here, yeah.
Yeah. What is, would you guys consider to be your work that you're most proud of? And go ahead and produce a bonus one.
Oh, he's at my stuff right now.
Yeah. Oh, I have yours as well.
Well, I can actually fire.
Switch between.
I would fire. I got at the top of my head that my one art that I'm proud of that actually got me to a new segue was I did this design. I was on Geek Tyrants. Geeks Are Sexy back in 2011. That's when they had all the Lion King coming back on the big screen. And I was looking at all these designs. These people were taking designs of superhero characters, and they were making minimalist faces. And I said, let me try it with the Lion King characters, and that just blew up people's minds. And then from there, I slowly developed. Okay, I like this minimalist style. What can I do for it? And the next thing was Andre the Giant Obey. Can I do that with my own persona? And I started doing that with other people's persona. I started doing that with badges because I love it because I execute quickly, and when I always find that new person coming in, say you're a new person coming into the furry convention, and you don't know what your persona looks like, you don't want people to design an art card, you just need something simple to convey who you are. And I say, hey look, I do a minimalist version of your head, this gets your pattern light over your head, gets your color palette going on, and it's cheap for me to execute at it. Then you can take it over to the next guy. You know, like they take it over, like, here's my color palette in my head. Can you work with this?
Yeah.
And I put that as my piece of artwork that got me to a new path of doing graphic design.
Excellent. Now, did you want to describe this just so that the people at home can hear?
So-
Because this is really good. But since you're the artist, would you care to describe?
So, and he asked what piece I perceive as like my best one that I've done recently. The most proud of. And the piece I chose was one of the ones with a white wolf in a pond of lilies, and with the actual eyes are blind, but it has a third eye on the forehead, and with a sharp shadow going across the wolf, and like I feel like that's the one that has had the most positive feedback as of recently.
Actually, can we actually get that on camera? I mean, you can keep talking, but is it possible we can get that? Just so people can see
Oh.
the thing?
I think you take it in photo. It's like put up a screen to a.
yeah.
Like do that flickering thing, you know.
Yep. That's fine. Yeah, it's on FA. What?
NDA probably.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah. And is yours on here? On FA?
Oh, it's on FA and DA. It should be under the Lion King Minimalist. I probably have it under that section there.
Was it recent?
Oh, it was from 2011. That's probably why I.
Oh boy!
I know it's
that's gonna be some scrolling.
I know it's gonna be some scrolling, but that's the one thing that it opened up a new door for my designs aspects.
I will take a look for it though.
Oh yeah, no.
Because I want to see it. If you guys are really proud of it,
Yeah,
I definitely want to peruse it.
step on by the table and the deal is done.
I have it as a poster at my table, but here's the other thing. I tried to take that same style, try it with other fandoms, and it did not get any attention in the, I guess you say the brony fandom. I thought that people would like it more, and it works on certain designs. And it's like, once again, it's a good example of not the same things that work somewhere else.
Yep. Exactly. So I'll have to definitely stop by and check those out,
Yeah.
especially if you have that there. I don't know if you have yours up there, but yeah, cool stuff. I'll have to go check that out.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem.
Any other questions?
Well, here's a question I have. When people come to your comments and they have the most negative criticism about your piece of artwork, how did you take it?
Honestly, I don't get them. But I have this one guy who messaged me like about 2 years ago on Tumblr, sent me a couple anonymous submissions and like just bashing me, like you can paint, but oh my gosh, like you can't draw worth jack, and it's like, but no, it's like I kind of find it funny because it's like yeah, I do suck because like it's kind of one of those things like where you got to surround yourself by positive influences. Surround yourself by people who you aspire to be. And in contrast, it's like, yeah, my stuff is very amateur. But I know it's like I've made enough progress in such a short amount of time in the past that I aspire to reach that point with my own work, and I know that eventually I can get there.
So. For myself, I had to... when people say that they throw nothing but negative at you from my own artwork, and I look at it and I say, okay, there's a critique in here. I'm going to be aware of it. And I think that the last negative one I got is when people don't criticize the artwork, they criticize what you did. As in case in point, there was I think it was for like Carrie Fisher passing, and Tara Strong put out she wanted a bunch of fan art of her character related to. Princess Leia. So I did something, and I had this tirade of Star Wars fans upset. I'm like, dude, so what? It's just fan art. It's not like smile and wave. But it's like I don't like the new Thundercats come out, but you know what? I feel like someone sent me this image, and I had to look at this and think for a second, and I laughed. It's the image of Grandpa Simpson from The Simpsons. It says old man yells at cloud, and all it is old man yells at cat. And that's who I am, and you know what? It's not my audience, you know what? I don't have to pay for it, someone else will pay for it. Good for them.
Yep.
If you don't like the artwork, then you don't have to buy it, dude.
Yep. It's
Yeah, sorry, just real fast. That one you mentioned with the wolf in the water, was that a watercolor or was that
it's digital.
digital?
Yep.
The style was really well done. It kind of mimics an actual digital style.
Thank you. That's one thing I try to emulate. Is like a lot of watercolor or oil.
Yeah,
illustration.
that was my second guess as well, mostly.
Mm-hmm.
Very well done.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Questions?
You find that when you're streaming that interferes with the work at all?
Sometimes. Like there's some days that I just having a microphone definitely helps. I would say that having a decent microphone is almost a necessity for me anymore because it offers me a more hands-free. I can work and talk. I don't have to worry about like typing into chat. So it offers that opportunity to just continue working. Sometimes I don't even bother with that, and I just occasionally and throw on music and occasionally glance at chat and just like have a little icon on the screen like focus mode and type and thing, and it's like my viewers, they understand. It's like sometimes you just gotta get work done, and it's like not every day you can't offer like that like an entertainment to every day. Like one thing I try to promote in my stream is productivity and education, and offering that environment for them to just come in, turn on the stream, and work along with me. Because like one thing I like doing is I like throwing on a stream and working on my own thing, listening to the banters every now and then, and it helps me like get my own stuff done. But yeah, overall, and like sometimes I have a microphone on, that definitely helps. But other days I am more like entertainment. Like I interact with the chat a lot more, and offer that opportunity to as a more teaching experience to the viewers.
For me, I think I need a second pair of eyes watching the chat, because my eyes did focus on the work and concentrate. And I was with somebody and I was helping them keep eyes on the chats and feeding me questions that way. It just feels more comfortable that way, because then I feel like I'm not talking by myself. I'm trying to multitask on that, because I think as I'm getting, you probably felt this, like there's so many different instruments or communications. You got Skype, you got Slack, you got Discord, you got Telegram, and I feel like I'm getting oversaturated. And I like, oh, just contact me through here, or send me an email, dude. Like, oh, I want to send you a message through Facebook Messenger. I'm like, just send me an email. Like, where's your email? I put it on everything. I keep my messages simple. There's so many out there. Like I was just helping BabsCon with an event. They're like, oh yeah, we have a Discord and we got a Slack. I'm like, which one do you want me to talk to you on, guys?
Right. That's my biggest gripe. Is like because there's so many so many avenues. There's Telegram, there's Discord, there's FA Notes, there's Twitter. There's so many that it's like. Yes, that is a primary, initial contact, but that is no platform. There's no excuse for not moving that conversation to email once it becomes the topic of a business transaction, because those messages, they cannot be they can get lost, they can get deleted, they can get buried. Like, I cannot tell you how many times that I've lost a commission that got buried on Telegram, and the commissioner contacts me a month later to be like, hey, how's my commission coming along? I was like, oh shoot, I haven't even started. It's not even on my queue. Yes. But yeah, definitely I recommend doing all business transactions through email, using invoices, and through PayPal, QuickBooks, Square. Like, if you're going to take in just straight payment, it has to be, only do it if you're doing the job right then and there, in stream, or at the con right there. That's the only time you should ever receive, direct payment.
So I have one last question. What's the best place for us to watch your works and follow your works outside of town?
Okay, so I have a personal website, blindcoyote.com. It has my portfolio, and it has my prices and terms of service and all that stuff. Also, Blind Coyote on FA and DeviantArt and ArtStation. and Blind Coyote on all the galleries, and then Blind Coyote art on pretty much all the social media. Yep. And just be note that there is a musician from like Europe that only has that stole Blind Coyote on Twitter.
He's
For me.
pretty hard.
Yeah.
For me, it's two locations, DeviantArt and Twitter. I'm most active on there. I try to be active on the other ones, but it's Summit Lion on Twitter and on DeviantArt. It's basically Thomas backwards. That's my I'm on Twitter, yeah, but I'm most active on there, and I try to post on the other ones when I can, but you're going to find me mostly on there.
Yes.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, animals, your guest of honor.
Bye, bye, bro.